Okay, good evening, student. Today I am going to discuss one important policy, that is the National Environment Policy, uh, NEP 2006. And now we are just listening about this One Health, which includes we have to consider the health system as a whole, which includes human, animals, plants, environment, everything, a lot of things. All these things they include, and then it is called as the One Health concept. The norm anywhere we are discussing about this One Health, and over a period, this One Health concept is going to be adopted by most of the country, and we will see the health as a whole. It is not going to be limited. The WHO definition, it is a spiritual, physical, and all that kind of situation. It is total health of environment, animals, sea, aquatic animals, marine animals, terrestrial animals, plant, or something like that. So that is the big concept. The environment is the one of that component in that One Health concept. एक मिनट एक मिनट Sorry, just for disturbance. Am I audible, man? Environment policy, that is the improving environment means we are reducing the disease burden. One health concept is something like this. If we take care of the environment, we are able to reduce the disease burden on the community and even in the other animals and all that kind of thing. Then what is the in the environment? What we see in the environment? What are the part of the environment? That is includes all natural air, water, soil, forest, human-made cities, industries, waste, surrounding that influence life on the earth. These are all the components of the environment. And physically, we see the abiotic kind of things: air, water, land, climate, biological, biotic part, plants, animals, microorganisms, social and the economic part, that is the human activity, means factories and all that kind of small businesses, urbanization, that also has some impact on the environment, and the various industries, they have also the in activity, they have also the effect on the environment. So these are all the basic component, and by seeing this component, easily you can imagine how they are going to affect the health of everybody, not only the human. Whatever all these components, they're going to affect the health of everybody. Okay. Now this NEP 2006, what is actually? That is a policy framework by the government of India to guide the environmental protection and the sustainable development. Means whatever the resources we have today, so that should be utilized in a manner so that our future generation or the coming progeny, they are also able to use that. So that is the part of this sustainable. Now every government or every country, they are just heading towards or aiming for this sustainable development or sustainable goal. So whatever things are there, they at least should stay for some time, and it should give the benefit not only the present generation, it should also be beneficial, or it should be available for the future generation also. So that is the policy framework which has been made by the government of India, and why it was introduced to address growing environmental concern. Pollution is a big problem, as we all know. Deforestation is also one of the biggest challenge because of the urbanization. We have to create the house and all that, and we have to cut the forest and all that kind of things. Even in the hilly area, if you talk about the hilly area, a lot of hilly terrain of the India, that is also being populated by the human being, and for making houses and all that, lot of deforestation or the trees cutting activity has to then make some kind of infrastructure or something like that. Climate change also, it affects the human or the animal also. So all these things, they are the concern for the health. That is why this national environment policy, it has been introduced to balance between all these factors, and also balance, make some kind of coordination towards the economic growth. Means how it is, what is the meaning of that? It is not like that to just stop the prevention or stop the pollution. We should stop creating the industries, or we should stop running the vehicles and all that kind of things. Well, if you do something like that, then of course it is going to be adversely affect the economic growth of the country. If you stop creating the industry, if you stop doing the deforestation, because sometimes it is needed also. You have to create few things which is required in sort of certain area. So you have to do the deforestation. But balancing is very much required. At what extent you are going, at what level you are going to do all these kind of activity, so that there must be some kind of balance between the environment and the other component of this environment. And key principle is, as I told you, sustainable development. That is a key principle, means meeting present needs without harming future generation. Whatever we are utilizing today, it should not be something like that. Yeah, our coming generation, they are going to be deprived of that. Means we do so much of pollution and all that kind of things. It becomes very difficult for them to roam around freely in the city and all that. So we should avoid all these activities. So that is the main principle of this National Environment Policy, AIM, or you can say something like that. And this is the objective of the NEP 2006. First one is the conservation of the critical ecosystem, that is forest, river, and the biodiversity that is required to be preserved, pollution prevention and control. It is very significant issues in various metro cities. Okay, we have to prevent this air pollution, water pollution is also a significant problem in the India. If you see in the Delhi NCR area, there is a big discussion topic about this Yamuna population and all that. Because water pollution, they affect the aquatic animals, and if they are affecting the aquatic animals, you see the lot of business are being conducted, or a lot of business and activities, they depend upon this aquatic animals, fishing and all that kind of things. So if you are damaging them, then of course it is going to hamper your economic growth also. So that is one thing. Same thing, soil and the soil pollution. That is also a big matter of concern. Lot of urea and the other kind of things we are utilizing as a fertilizer, which ultimately mix with the soil and it harms your health and all. So that is one thing. Noise pollution in the urbanization or the city culture life, there is a every time there is a chance of huge noise, big parties and the big shows and all that. That is why we have to make some rules, and in the metro city or in the other city, we have to fix some timing. After that timing, you have to stop all such kind of activity, even if they are maybe the necessary. If we talk about the marriage part, if we talk about any kind of religious function and all that, where sound is required up to a certain level, but there is always a check up to after what time that sound is supposed to be stopped. Why that is also important? Because in the community, in the environment, there are other human beings, they are living. Maybe the elder one, from for them noise is doing maybe a disturbing element. It may be some devotional song or something like that. But after a certain time, or after a certain pitch of the volume, pitch of the sound, it becomes difficult for them to assimilate that level of sound and all that kind of thing. Then we have to see this livelihood security. It is important ensure natural resources, water, land are available for the community. And if it is not available in a proper manner, then what happens? You see, in the many areas, There are large deep bore holes, and they are all being dug. And what is the result of that? Over a period, you see level of water is going very down, and the whole area is going to be deprived of the water, underground water. So same time, government has to make ensure that that activity should not go so much if we are going to be deprived of all these kind of things. That is very much important to take care of that. And same time, land also, because land is very much important for constructing any kind of infrastructure, any kind of buildings and all that, where we can live or we can conduct any activities. So we have to take care of that these land things also. Then integration of the environment in development. These all what I have told you means you can create the industry. Nobody is going to say or nobody is saying ki you cannot use the fertilizers for the good crop and all that. But you have to make some kind of balance in between all these activities. Nobody is saying ki we are against the urbanization. It is not something like that. But when we are planning for the organization, it should be something like it should not damage your environment. It should not damage your ecosystem. You have to make ensure. Okay, just say if we are creating some apartment in the city, you have taken the land, some of the forest, some of the trees may need be cut to create the structure. But same time, we should also make some green land of green track kind of things where the people can walk, people can run for their health benefits and all that kind of thing. So that kind of integration is very much required when we are doing something like that. As I say, fishing and all that, if we are doing the fishing, then we should also take care of that. How the in the breeding season we should stop this fishing kind of activities and all that, or we may reduce this these kind of activity for the better population growth. And later on, they are ultimately they are going to help us in the economic growth also. Then climate change adaptation and the mitigation, it is important part. We have to go for this green energy kind of things. We should more focus on this solar energy. We should utilize this windmills for getting the energy and all that. So that and we should also restrict some use of vehicles of some old models, or we should restrict our use of ACs in the big metro cities where we are utilizing 4 5 ACs in a single house. So we should think upon all that so that we can reduce this greenhouse gas emissions, which ultimately damage the environment. And if environment is not healthy or it is not appropriate, it is going to damage the health of human being also. So we have to see all that. This is some example of the integration of the environment. जैसे if we take the example of the Tamil Nadu, वहाँ पे problem था common effluent treatment plant. बहुत सारी चीजें they are coming into the water. A small textile industries in the Tirupur polluted the Noel River, that is with the dye chemicals. So what the solution they have adopted? Set up to treat the wastewater collectively before discharge. मतलब before discharging from the textile industry, government has made some kind of policy to treat that water before discharging into the Novel River. And what was the impact? What is the impact of that? That's a cleaner river water. And if the river water is clean, as you know, a lot of people they are still depending upon the water of the river for taking baths, taking even for the eating, drinking water from the river. So if the river water is clean, lot of health problems they are automatically going to be reduced. As in the hospital also, if we are as you know if we are treating the biomedical waste management is one part, but second thing is that effluent treatment also means जो आपका water जो है खराब पानी which are being generated in the lab and all that kind of things. So we always policy says you have to treat that water before mixing them into the general drain. So there are a lot of systems. Even one of the Karnataka model is very famous for treating this effluent treatment plant, means the water which is discharged, which is produced after doing this medical activities. So that water they are also supposed to be treated before mixing into the uh, general drain. So that kind of thing. Then second thing, if you see this. problem coal power plant causes air pollution. Okay. So what is the solution for that? Was suggested ki mixing agriculture waste like straw with the coal reduces the emissions. That is one thing. And with this activity, what happens actually? What was the impact? Impact is lesser air pollution, and if the air pollution is less, easily we can think upon that key there is going to be reduction in the respiratory disease. We can have a good air, clean air, and we can make safe ourselves from getting any kind of or few respiratory diseases. We can save ourselves. Okay. And one more impact of this kind of thing, the farmer they can earn extra income by selling crop residue. So they're also going to help in the economy of the country. So that is basically example I want to give you to make you understand what is the actually the integration, where the activity is not going to be stopped, but same time action are being taken to reduce the harm impact of that particular activity, and same time if, making some kind of positive externality means which does something good to the community or something to the environment. That is a positive externality which is called. We have to think upon that. Then we talk about this environmental and health. So what are the air pollution health? What are the kind of disease? What are the impact? That is just for basic awareness. Uh, Vehicles and industries, waste, they're all creating the pollution, and because of that, we can have the respiratory disease, asthma, COPD, heart disease also. Lot of particulate matter they can create the heart disease and low birth weight in the newborn. Research also suggests कि if any air pollution is there in any area, then the baby may be the born with this low birth weight. Okay, that is one impact also. Water pollution, we see a lot of industrial waste and the sewage pesticides, and that water waste they can create the diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, and a lot of the various harmful diseases. Okay, kidney damage may be there because arsenic and a lot of chemicals there in the water they can damage the kidney, and in various part of the country, various significant diseases are there. Let's say if I take the example of the Agartala, that area was very high in the iron. That is many people there they have the case of the gallbladder stone or something like that. So that impact is because of the water. Liver disease, there is also chance if there is a chemical dyes and all that in the water in the polluted form. That also going to affect this liver, and ultimately they can damage the liver or they can hamper the liver function. Then we talk about this soil pollution and the health, pesticide, industrial waste, landfills. They are all mixing with the soil, and they make them polluted. And what are the effects? Health effects can be there. Cancer, there is a chances of with the toxic chemical cancer chances are there. Lead, mercury exposure, they are creating the neurological disorders if you are using any kind of vegetables or something like that, which grown into such kind of soil and all that. The chances are there you may suffer from all these kind of disease. Poisoning and malnutrition is always it is a very common kind of things which happens because of the polluted soil and other things. So we have to. That's why it is very important to take care of that all these components of the environment, as they are ultimately if you're not taking good care of that, then ultimately they're going to affect your health in a very sometimes in a very serious manner also. Okay. Then we see what are the challenges. Okay, wherever the things are there, there are challenges also. And one challenge which in the India that is the weak enforcement of the laws. Industries bypass regulation. We see even sitting in the Delhi NCR, a lot of industries they are throwing their waste directly into the Yamuna. So people are knowing that, and people are bypassing that. This becomes very difficult sometimes to regulate. As a vehicle, there is no license or something like that. License for what? License I'm talking about this pollution check and all that. So people are not carrying out this pollution check and all, and they're just ignoring these regulations which affect the environment. Lack of public awareness. it is also one most important thing in the rural area or in the less literate area. Many people they are not aware how they can contribute in reduction of the pollution, various kind of pollution, or how they can reduce the adverse impact in the environment. So that awareness is very much important to create into the public, and conflict between economic growth and the environmental protection. That is again a hospital kind of scenario where the services and the quality they're all always in the conflict. If you are providing the good quality treatment, then treatment of cost of treatment is going to be high. The same thing. Whatever I have told you, economic growth and environmental protection means if I want to establish some kind of industry, I need to cut some trees. So now question arises whether I should cut tree for the economic growth or I should not cut the tree. So that kind of balance we have to create between environmental protection as well as for this economic growth, because that cannot be stopped. We have to move on further for economic growth also of the country. And as a public health personnel, what are the public health, what how they can intervene here, what is their role? Economic growth basically is being done by these industries, job development, urbanization. These are all helping in the economic growth, and the harms in the form of pollution, deforestation, climate change, and all that kind of things. Okay, so as a public health, we have to ensure the adoption of the or the adherence with the various kind of regulation which government has created. So it is something like that. There's a factories versus clean air problem. Factories like in Delhi and NCR, Singrauli, Korba, they create job, but they also cause the air and the water pollution. This Korba and the Singrauli, they are the part of the Chhattisgarh where the coal mining and the coal business is on the very high side. So you can imagine they are giving lot of employment to the others, but same time they're also creating the pollution. So how we can think upon that? So what is the conflict? Conflict whether we shut down. If we shut down, then क्या होगा? Unemployment होगा, economic loss होगा. And if we allow कि they should run, then क्या होगा? Respiratory diseases बढ़ेंगी and a lot of other problems are there. तो हम इसका सॉल्यूशन क्या निकालेंगे? एज ए पब्लिक हेल्थ वी हैव टू मेक इंश्योर कि जो भी पॉल्यूशन कंट्रोल लॉज हैं या जो भी चीजें हैं, वी शुड make the people aware to follow that laws and the rules. And same time, so we should also start some kind of green technology, and we should start giving the incentive for the green technology. So basically, education is very important to make the people aware about all these kind of things. Second, if we see by this example in the context of this public health, problem is mining coal in the Jharkhand, bauxite in the Odisha. They boost GDP. You can understand how they're important bauxite and all that kind of things. But at the same time, they are destroying the forest and the tribal lands. What is the conflict? Either you start ban, you do the ban, कि loss of उससे क्या होगा? There may be the loss of revenues and jobs वगैरह भी they will be reduced. And if you do the allow the mining without any control, then loss of biodiversity is there, displacement of tribal communities. They will leave the land and they will come into the city or some kind of village or something like that. The solution क्या होगा? Like, same thing. We have to make the people adherence with the whatever the policies and the regulation, and same time we should encourage the reforestation. Okay, growing some plant or plantation or all that kind of things. And rehabilitation part जो है लोग जो displaced हो रहे हैं tribal communities and all that, we have to make ensure कि they should be displaced after the displacement, they should be in a better and proper place. So what are the public health interventions? We can think upon that. Advocacy means push for strict pollution control in the local policy. Research, it is a very important thing that study links between the environment and the disease, how air pollution affects the lung health, how air pollution they are going to affect the birth weight of the baby. Then we have to do this community awareness, educate people on the clean water, waste segregation, the tree planting. These are all the area of the public health we have to think upon that. And policy engagement, we have to work with the government to implement health friendly environmental laws, and we have to make understand the community about that laws, and further we can educate the school children or the community, females and all that, to just about this importance of the environment, why we should keep our environment healthy for our benefit only and for the benefit of the future generation also. Matlab it has to be sustainable. So this is all about this National Environment Policy 2006. As a hospital public health person, we are supposed to understand the important part of this policy, and so that when we are in the field, we can take the health in a very comprehensive manner. Okay. So at this place, I will stop for this today lecture, and